Welcome to the Two Opinionated Brothers Podcast with Smart Jarvis and Big Sam. This podcast, opinions, and views are simply those of the two opinionated brothers. So don't trip.
Big Sam, how you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good, Jarvis.
It's been a long time since I seen you, man.
Yeah.
You been running from me?
No, I'm just letting you do your homework, man.
Ain't no
Get your
homework
thoughts
for me
together.
to do, man. I ain't no thoughts to get together. It's all right here.
Okay.
As a famous man once said.
Okay.
Hey, before we get started, we need to give a shout out to the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. You know what today is? Anything you want to say to me, Sam, before we get started? Real quick.
No Shave November? Is that what you got going on there? No Shave November?
In relation to Omega Psi Phi, is there anything you want to say to me?
Well, you were telling me that it's the Founders Day.
Oh, okay.
That's what you were telling me.
Okay.
Okay, well, so should I say congratulations? Is congratulations in order? Happy Founders Day, Jarvis.
Oh, okay.
Happy Founders Day
Thank you.
to
I appreciate that, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was so unexpected, man.
Oh,
November
okay.
17th, 1911.
We rehearsed that.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I just want the folks to know we've been rehearsing this little thing.
Pictures coming.
The 1911.
Pictures coming, ladies and gentlemen. Pictures
Okay.
coming soon. What we talking about today, man?
I don't know, Jarvis. Like I said, I mean, it's been a while since we had a chance to actually sit down and have an adult conversation that didn't include drunkenness and profanity.
Whoa. Before we need to make some stuff clear to the listening public. Drunkenness and profanity. Two things I do not participate in. So who are you referring to?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, just clear that up, son. I don't want no part of that.
It's been a while.
Okay.
Short of it, it's been a while since we had a chance to talk. A lot is going on in our community and in the world per se. Young man lost his life a couple of weeks ago in Madison, Alabama, outside of Planet Fitness.
Outside of Planet Fitness, Mr. Dana Fletcher.
Dana Fletcher.
Yeah.
So that's certainly been a hot topic issue here in our community.
Very hot.
What say you?
What do you mean, what say you?
Thoughts?
Man, I got a lot of thoughts, man. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about, or just the whole situation in general?
Just give us your thoughts of the situation. Of course, we're all hurt that this young man lost his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my thoughts are kind of the same thoughts that they always are whenever we have these issues. I mean, whether you and I get a chance to talk about them or not on air, we talk about them often when we're hanging out, when we bump into each other, or just
drunkenness and profanity, right?
And none of that's going on when I'm talking, but and it's the same situation, man. And I posted on Facebook when it happened. You have people that jump to conclusions on both sides, and I like to try to refrain from passing judgment until we try to get all the facts. If we happen to get all the facts, that's another. That's another. We'll get to that in a minute. But my biggest question was, how did we get here, right? How did we get to where a guy and his wife are apparently asking questions to gym goers and to the point where Madison PD is called, to the point that they're showing up, to the point that he's dead, right? It's like, how did we even get here? What crime was committed that the questions you were asking warranted the police being called? And, it made me think back to, I think it was 2014, 15, something in that nature, when the older Indian gentleman was walking in the neighborhood down in Madison. I guess he was there visiting his son, and he's walking down the street, and one of the residents there calls the cops and says there's a dark-skinned guy or brown-skinned guy or something that nature, right?
Yeah.
that is looking suspicious and looking in people's garages, and he's fearing for his family or something of that nature, right? And then the cops come. He can't speak English or doesn't speak English well, and somehow it escalates to a 60 or 70 some odd year old man getting body slammed and partially paralyzed. Of course, the officers, I guess it was hung jury once, and now he's back operating, and it's just the same old thing. And until we start going just beyond the police, right? The situation happens, somebody gets killed, hurt, something like that with the police, and we attack the police. But it's bigger than just the police officers on the street, right? Some citizen had to look out their window and say, oh, because this guy is not white, he's of another color, he's automatically a threat, right? So let me call the authorities on him, right? And then when this stuff goes to trial, then we get jurors, right? Because you got to get you're judged by a jury, your peers. So then we get white jurors that sympathize with the white officer, right? Either because they have a dislike for brown people or because he or she looks like their son or daughter, whatever the case may be. And uh, here he is acquitted, and he's back on the street. Hopefully, he doesn't hurt anybody else in the future. But how do we know that won't happen? So there's multiple layers to this problem. It's not just the police. It's other people participating in this process, whether it be the district attorneys that don't file charges, whether it be the police departments that let officers upload their own body cam footage, and lawmakers that make law that says you don't have to release the footage to the public. I mean, what's the point of having body cam footage, right? To protect the officer, all right, and then also to appease the public if you're not going to give the footage to the public. And so the district attorney releases still frames, right, of this incident. And so you already have a suspicious public, right? A public that is suspicious. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you already have a suspicious public, right? And then you say, we're not going to just release the video, right? Why in the hell would you not just release the video and then you can go on the website, sir, ma'am, and you can play it, rewind it, pause it as much as you want, all day long if you want to. Here it is, right? I can assure you if District Attorney Broussard had a family member or a loved one that was killed, right, and there was footage of it, right, whether it was from the body cam of an officer or some business that had a camera there, he would not be satisfied with someone telling him, well, we looked at the video and we think it was justified, District Attorney Broussard, and we're just going to give you some still frames that say, hey, this is what happened, your loved one had a gun or what have you, and just trust us and move on. Come on.
Well, I mean, I agree. You know, I think, you know, that body cam footage, you know, should, but I believe that it's to the point that it should really be live streamed. You know, I mean, there should be, you know, there's no reason why, you know, this information should not be readily available. Maybe, you know, you would say, well, something may lead to an investigation or so, and then pull it down. But a citizen at any point, regardless of the situation, should have access to the conduct of police officers.
Right.
Just like, you know, they have access to us.
Right.
You know,
right.
through looking at cameras and
right.
other surveillance and so on and so forth. There should be total, openness when it comes to things like that. You know, so there is no excuse that the footage is not being released. That there's no excuse for that. And even in a point of investigation, you know, there should be a time frame.
Yeah. Well, see, I had that same conversation with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine that is actually a police. Well, he's former law enforcement. He still does security work and things of that nature now, but he was former law enforcement. And I had the same conversation with him. I said, look, man, people get emotional and they say, you know, the shooting happens Friday night at midnight. Monday morning or Saturday morning at 6 a.m. they want the footage. That's not reasonable, right? If there's an investigation ongoing, it's perfectly reasonable for them to say, we're not going to release the footage right now because there's an investigation going on, and this may go to trial. And then if you've got stuff all out there, you could bias jurors, et cetera, et cetera. I got no problem with that. But as soon as the district attorney, like he did last, I believe it was Friday, says, hey, shooting is justified. Okay. I'm not going to say that it's not justified because I hadn't seen all the evidence you've seen, right? But as soon as you say it's justified, release all of the evidence and all of the footage right then. The only reason you wouldn't do that I can think of, and maybe you can think of something else, the only reason I can think of you wouldn't release the footage after you've deemed it justified is either you're lying, you know, and or covering something up, or there's something that occurred that was said or done, maybe not even involved in relation to the killing, but something was said or done by officers that was unbecoming, inappropriate, or something of that nature that would reflect poorly on those officers, and the police department. And so you don't want the general public to say, whoa, cops are acting like that. Cops are talking like that around, that's the only thing I can think of. Why would you not?
Yeah, I mean, there's something in the sausage, because, for instance, the presence of a gun in a traffic stop doesn't warrant an officer killing.
Right.
The presence of a gun, even if the young man had a gun, the sight of a gun shouldn't automatically equal kill.
Yeah.
Not
not when lawmakers are passing laws that says you can open carry and walk around Walmart with your gun on your hip like it's the Wild Wild West, and then you got officers that are going to shoot somebody as soon as they see a gun. Those aren't jiving. Yeah. So, and that's another conversation. Yeah. So we need to come to terms with what's going on here. Yeah, either guns are allowed in America, right? In all citizens' hands, right? I think that's where the problem is. It seems to me that the fear is elevated when it's a certain hue of citizens that have the gun, right? Because I've seen footage of people being talked down and negotiated, and people taking hours to try to talk somebody down. It's just like we had the young lady that was a veteran, real sad situation, that got killed a little while back here over in the apartments. They say she was waving a gun around. She apparently had a record of some type of mental disturbance. I don't know if they knew about that or not. They should. We need to. Law enforcement should know about that type of stuff so you can approach the situation in a different manner. But you roll up on the scene and she has a gun. Okay, you knew that before she came out. She hadn't shot anybody. Nobody's threatened. They're just telling you. I'm sure somebody that called said, "Hey, the young lady's acting up again," or something of that nature. And you come out there and you kill her. Well, what happened to tactics? Trying to negotiate, trying to talk a person down. I don't understand it.
Yesterday evening, and you can tell me your thoughts. Yesterday evening at my church, there was a workshop that was held. And
hold on one second. You go to church?
I do.
Whoa.
Yeah, every week. Oakwood University Church.
Yeah. I mean, I find church. This is shocking, man.
That they allow my kind in? Is it my skin color?
No, it's not your skin color.
Oh, okay.
It's your personality, lengthy criminal history.
Okay, well.
Et cetera, et cetera.
God is a God of second chances, man. You better do better than I deserve.
But they're not law enforcement. They don't give you second chance.
They held a workshop yesterday, and the title of it was "How to Survive a Traffic Stop in 2019." What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, just if people would really stop. I'm talking about I'm talking about this is for white Americans, because Oakwood Church is a black church. I'm sure you have some white members, but the overwhelming majority is black. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I can assure
HBCU.
you. Well, I mean, I'm not disputing that. Fine university. It ain't Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University, but it's a close. I don't know. Second, third, I don't know in this area.
Okay, in this area. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Ain't but two of them, right?
Ain't but two of them. I feel
but see, on a serious note, those type of sermons, right? Those type of workshops, those type of conversations are not being had in white churches or white households, right? So white America needs to really understand, are all these people just hundreds upon thousands upon millions of black folks just uptight for no reason? Are they just fearful for no reason? Or is there something to this? Why is it that a black church feels the need to have a workshop to tell you how to survive a traffic stop? A traffic stop. Right? So as a law-abiding citizen, right? When a police officer gets behind me, I feel a little anxiety. Seriously. I've done nothing wrong, right? Don't have a criminal record, don't do drugs, don't sell drugs, none of that type of stuff. Have committed no crime. I get a little anxiety because the first thing when I see them get behind me, I start thinking about all these stories of other individuals, and I'm not even going to run down the list of names of individuals that had encounters and ended up dead, right? So you say, what's going on? I got pulled over a few months ago, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I was going to see a movie one Saturday morning about 10 o'clock. I was going to go to a 10:30 movie so I could sit in there by myself. I think it was that last Avengers movie, right? And I got pulled over by the officer. I've got a customized tag on my car. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Got pulled over. I asked the officer, what's the problem? He says, my vehicle matched the description of one that was just stolen from the dealership. I said, wow, so you think a guy stole a vehicle from the dealership, put a customized plate on it, and just cruise around Huntsville like it's no big deal?
Morning, yeah.
10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, come on, man. You know, and so, and again, that.
Well, how did you survive that? I guess this is my question. See, I don't, I'm not one to, I'm not taking sides
Right.
in this, because sides, you may be right this time, but that doesn't mean you're always right.
Correct.
You may be wrong this time.
Correct.
That doesn't mean I think all of these situations need to be dealt with on an individual basis. But I guess my question is, how did you survive that encounter?
Well, I think we've talked about this before. I do think there's something to how you interact with law enforcement, right? I would tell anyone, any black person, any brown person, if we're talking about interacting with police, the number one thing I would say is, no matter how wrong you think they are, no matter how pissed off you are that they're stopping you, no matter how wrong it is that you've been stopped or you're being harassed or whatever, do everything you can to comply, right? Because I'd rather you come to me, Jarvis, I'm pissed off, I got pulled over, this guy was calling me all this and that, he harassed me, he roughed me up, blah, 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 blah. I didn't say anything back. Okay, you're alive. Now let's go raise hell and see if we can get something done. But if you don't and you die, now we can still go raise hell, right? But you're gone. We can never get you back. So I do encourage everyone to do that. I also know that, and this is not, trying to say it's anything special about me or you, but I do think that some individuals are better equipped to communicate with law enforcement than others, right? For various reasons, whether it be education level, whether it be upbringing, whether it be being a member of a church like the one you just said that have had workshops like this that talked about it, whether it be the community you grew up in, right? Our experience growing up in our community, not that we live, the lifestyle of the rich and famous, right? But our amount of interaction with cops in a negative fashion, I'm sure is far less than some people that live in certain areas of the city, right?
Yeah.
We can all agree on that, right? So a youth that comes out of the projects, right, that has police running through there day in and day out, he's grown, his heart has hardened towards the police a lot more than you and I probably have, because our interactions are far and few between. So the frustration level, even though I was frustrated that day, right, it was a minor inconvenience to me because, I'm just cruising around, ain't no big deal. I got time. He stopped me for 7-8 minutes and he apologized. I don't know how genuine that was, but he did. I stayed professional, didn't raise my voice, didn't get an attitude with him, and I went on about my day. Someone else that's been stopped 20 times, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe this 21st time is when they lose it.
But
not saying that's right.
Yeah,
but
you know what though, and something just occurred to me when you said that. It's not often that. Well, let me say it this way. Oftentimes, when we are protesting and investigating and demanding justice, it's because the police have killed someone who has not committed a crime, wasn't in the process of committing a crime, right. Just innocent people.
Right.
So then I'm going to ask the question, is it that the people that are out here committing crimes, doing wrong, do they know how to interact with the police? Because we're not, we don't often hear, now I'm sure they get killed too, but we don't often hear.
I think the answer to that is if someone is shot matter of fact, I saw a video the other day in maybe it was Sacramento or something, where a guy was beating up and roughing up his girlfriend. Somebody called the cops. He came. He had a gun. He pulled the gun out, started shooting at his girlfriend. I think he ended up killing her.
Mm-hmm.
But the cops were on the scene at that point. he opened fire and they opened fire and they killed him. I don't think anybody's going to go protest that, right? We're not talking about that type of stuff. I'm talking about. I'm talking about reasonable people, right? There's some people that hate the police, period. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter if you show the footage and they see with their eyes that the guy was about to shoot the cop and so he shot him and killed him, they're still going to be anti-police. We know we're not talking about those people. Okay, well, we're talking about reasonable people.
I say that to say this. And I'm going to tie in what President 44 said last week, about us being woke. Your guy, about us being woke. Is it that, and I'm not saying that this is always the case, but sometimes we are so gung-ho that the police are wrong, that every encounter with the police now has to be a confrontation. I'm a black guy. The police stops me. At that moment, I put Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, John Garvey, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, all of them on my shoulders. And I'm going to take that opportunity to now read this police his rights.
Yeah.
And let that police officer know that I'm a black American and the only reason you're stopping me is because I'm black, and we're going to have this encounter. And what happens is, and even if we're right or even if we're wrong, what I'm saying is, we have this mentality that if every time a cop stops me, it's because I'm black. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this cop knows that he got the right black person today.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. Now, what I would say to that is that citizens and cops have contributed to that mentality, right? If you have a force, police force, criminal justice system, that continuously and historically has targeted, picked on, bullied a certain group of individuals, this is the monster that you create.
But I pose the question.
This is the monster you create.
But I pose the question, who's losing their lives?
Well, no. I agree. Again, I'll go back to what I said before. My advice to anyone, black or brown, you get pulled over. You're out walking down the street with your girlfriend, minding your own business. Some asshole cop runs up on you talking crazy, telling you to show him your ID. I saw somewhere in California, some guy was eating a sandwich, and the guy came around. It's frustrating. It pisses you off. I wouldn't want to have to deal with it. Do not get into an argument, right? Or physical confrontation with them, because we're going to lose that. You're going to lose that battle right then, right? You're going to lose that battle right then. You're either going to get arrested. Best case scenario, you're going to get arrested, right? And then we can come back and we can bail you out and we can get you. Worst case scenario, it's going to go left quickly. And again, even if you're dead, we can go fight for you, but you're dead. You're not coming back. So we don't need that. So, it's a tough situation, man. And again, I'm not someone that has a lot of experience being stopped by police officers, but the few times I've had, it's very frustrating, man.
It is. I mean,
it's frustrating when you know you've done nothing wrong, or even not about knowing whether you did something wrong. It's just in the back of your head, everything that's going on with police departments around the country. And so what I would say, my suggestion to police officers is to clean up your departments. Yeah. Right? It's on, people talk about good cops, bad cops, and they say, the overwhelming majority of cops are good. I don't know that. How do I know that? Here's what I know, Sam. If you and I get in a vehicle, pull up at a gas station, I run in there, pull a gun out, rob the store, the gas station, get back in the car with you and pull off, we get pulled over. Guess who's going to jail? Both of us. We're both going to be held accountable, right? Mm-hmm. If a dirty cop plants something on someone, his partner sees it, doesn't tell anybody. We don't have one bad cop, we got two bad cops. If cops roll up on the scene and the guy's unarmed and he shoots and kills them and 4 or 5 cops are around and they know the guy didn't pull a gun on him, they know the guy wasn't resisting and this guy shot him anyway, and they go in and they sign statements backing the guy's story, we don't have one bad cop, we got 5 bad cops. Exactly. Right? If police chiefs and district attorneys know that cops are planting evidence or uploading and editing their own body cam footage and they're not doing anything about it. We've got a bad system, right? So cops is a police officer is a very important profession. We need police officers. I tell people all the time that talk about they hate cops. Hey, let me assure you, if you're getting robbed or if your mom calls you and tells you she hears a noise, somebody's trying to break in, you want the cops to show up and help your mom or help you. So we want police officers. We just want them to be clean, right? That's all we want. So it's incumbent upon other police officers to step in and say, hey, I don't want to be associated with that. That ain't right, man. Just like we got this whistleblower, stuff going on with the president. I mean, I'm being serious. That's what we've got to have. If you see corrupt stuff going on, somebody's got to step up.
But see, this is the thing. But see, and then that's where I kind of lose you, because I don't necessarily believe that these officers that shot and killed Dana Fletcher were corrupt officers. I think they were officers who exercised poor judgment and made bad decisions based on the situation. I don't think that I could be wrong.
Yeah.
They could be white supremacists. They could be racist. They could been Negro hunting that day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know. Absolutely.
But I don't believe that, because even just watching the video, now I don't know what video, it's just videos.
Yeah.
You know where they came from, who they came from. Yeah. But at no point did it ever appear to me that there was a confrontation, a fight.
Right.
I mean, there was a struggle.
Yeah. A
struggle is different than a fight.
Yeah.
A struggle, I'm trying to get you to do something, you're not moving. A fight is you hit me, I hit you.
Right.
You offense, defense. I didn't see that.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I really believe that what happened was someone made a bad decision. Right. Now, they're not wanting to own it. And I get it.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you right there. That's where the corruption comes in. See, you're right. I'm not going to cast aspersions on police officers all across the country, or those 5 officers, those 2 officers, whatever, or Madison Police Department, and say they're corrupt. Can't do that. But the problem is this. You're right. Officer may not be a bad guy, may not be a racist, may have just made a bad decision. That bad decision cost someone's life, if in fact he made a bad decision. First off, we're speculating on all this because the district attorney, for whatever reason, won't release the entire video, which is absolutely ridiculous and only fuels the fire of the public being upset and suspicious about police, right? But once you make a mistake, we all make mistakes, Sam. If me and you go down the Parkway, speed limit is what, 60, 65, 55? I don't know. And we go 100. We're not corrupt people. We made a mistake. We've got to pay the consequences. Yeah. So if a cop makes a mistake that turns fatal, he's got to pay the consequences, right? If he doesn't, and if the reason he doesn't do it is because people are trying to cover up evidence, that's what makes you corrupt, right? So the police department is not corrupt even if a rogue cop goes out, right, planting evidence and all that stuff. That doesn't mean the police department's corrupt. As soon as other officers find out about it and don't report it, that's when you start talking about we've got a corrupt department. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Is the district attorney's office here in Madison County corrupt? I don't know. You got body cam footage you won't release to the public. The public is demanding it. You work for the taxpayer, right? So the taxpayer that's paying your salary says they want to see the footage. And you won't show it. And let me say this just real quick before I let you go. I'm talking about all this stuff because perception is reality, right? So when you have a town hall in Huntsville, first off, when you schedule a town hall in Huntsville to talk about police shootings, when the damn shooting happened in Madison, that's a problem, right? Why are we coming to North Huntsville to talk about this when it happened in Madison? But when the district attorney, Richard, shows up and he's got a smug attitude, right? And he's telling people he doesn't have a lot of time. He's got stuff to do, and we're not going to show you the footage. What are you going to do with it? When you talk to citizens like that, right, that are already suspicious of law enforcement, do you think that's going to lower suspicion or raise suspicion?
Well, it's going to raise suspicion, right. But this is the thing. But see, this is what I don't understand. Like, then what do we do? The answer. Protesting in the traffic stop is not the answer, right? That gets us killed. Would you agree?
I would not advise to get into a verbal or physical confrontation with the officer on the scene.
That gets us
That's
killed.
correct.
Okay. So my thing is, so then what do we do? Now, like Obama was saying, it's not enough to be woke and to be aware of it. It's not enough to have the knowledge of it. Now, what do you do? What do we do? We have to vote, right? If we're not happy with the way the Madison County Sheriff Department, right, conducted the investigation, or if we're not happy that the Madison County Sheriff Department, which is supposed to be a unbiased body, a third party, right, then we need to elect the sheriff, right, who we feel will stand for right.
Well, I agree with that.
Stand for justice for all.
I agree with that. Now, the tricky situation that we've got here, Madison County, and probably in most red states, I don't think that the Democrats even run anybody against Broussard as the district attorney. Which
we need to get rid of.
Which explains
our Democratic leadership.
Yeah, which explains which would explain why he's smug. See, the problem with Broussard is that he doesn't understand. Well, I'll take that back. He doesn't recognize black folks, right, as his constituent because they're not his voting bloc.
Yeah.
Right? Because majority of blacks are Democrat. So he doesn't recognize. Now, they're your constituent because they're residents of Madison County. So you're their district attorney. So you should be unbiased, bipartisan, right, and uphold justice, right? But he doesn't consider them his constituent because they're not his voting bloc. So he doesn't care. I can assure you he wouldn't, if a white family had lost their loved one, he would not have came to a town hall and told a town hall full of Madison citizens, or let's go South Parkway, Jones Valley citizens, where there was a majority white makeup in that town hall. I can assure you Broussard would not have said to them, I don't have a lot of time, I got stuff to do. He would have sat there and he would have answered questions. He would have been polite and professional and like you should be with anyone. So we've got that problem. Now, I agree. I guess the Democratic Party as a whole is going to have to step up and start running people against these candidates that aren't getting any competition, any pushback, particularly in areas where there's a complaint. It's one thing if you're not running anybody against a Republican and there's, by all accounts, he's doing a good and fair job. But if you've got people complaining about how the DA is treating your voting bloc, Democratic voting bloc, black people, brown people, then we've got a problem.
And it's like, and I want to talk Kaepernick really quick, but
we ain't got a lot of time because it's Founders Day, so I got some part in it.
It's like our past exalted ruler said, everything in life ain't fair.
I agree with that too.
And I'm gonna tell you, coming from different aspects in life, when you're doing things that aren't necessarily legal, one of the first things first things that the people, OGs, whatever you want to call them, tell you, hey, if you're going to do that, cross your I's and dot your T's. Have your valid driver's license, have your tag receipt, have your insurance. Your cops pull you over, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Whatever it takes to get that situation over as quickly as possible. Now you can stand there and do whatever you want to do and blah, blah, blah. But what you want to do is get that situation over as quickly as possible so that they give them no reason to delve in or go any further. Word is, man, Jay-Z's a little upset with Colin. Yeah, a little upset with him, man.
Apparently Jay-Z had what they said was some influence, I don't know how large or how small, with getting this deal set up for him to come out and do that audition, workout this past Saturday. And I guess he pulled an audible on him at the last minute and went to like a high school or something. Yeah. Because
the media the NFL wasn't going to allow the media into the workout.
Right. And so I hadn't taken a lot of time to and thoroughly immerse myself in this particular story. Like I said, it's Achievement Week for Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Today is our Founders Day.
Does Colin Kaepernick want to play football or not?
Working hard for Omega, but
does he want to play football or not?
Back to your question. Yeah. I don't have
an opinion.
I don't have a problem with him being upset about. Well, first off, let me say this. I don't have a problem with him changing the venue. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
I understand Jay-Z was upset that he changed the venue and all that. This is Colin Kaepernick's career or potential career. So he should be in full control of the workout. If he wants to change the venue at the last minute, and if it hurts his chances, he made that decision. It's up to him, right? I understand him not him wanting the media to be there because he wants live footage. He wants cameras. He wants other what he would consider non-biased individuals there to give their opinion on how he looks, right? Because he doesn't want just NFL people to be in there and then them to go back and say he looked terrible, right? And then it's just his word against 20, 30 NFL people.
32
so that's
teams.
why he wanted the media there. I have no problem with that. Hold on. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Until I let you go, then I'll refute some of your points that you're going to try to make that ain't going to make no sense. I think Colin Kaepernick at this point has more power and influence not playing football. I think that if he signs now, unless he need, this is livelihood and he wants to get the money or whatever, then he has to do what he has to do. But as far as the influence in his position in the movement, he does better for us as a martyred figure not playing than if some team signs him and makes him the backup quarterback and he's just sitting on the bench, or if he's got to somebody like Dallas Cowboys sign him and he's got to agree to not kneel during the anthem. So if he's got to compromise some of his principles to play, he actually hurts himself as far as the influence that he'll have by signing with a team. But again, if he needs the money or whatever he's got to do to take care of his family, then you got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to tell somebody to turn down money.
That's complete hypocrisy, man.
Oh, okay.
That's
Why
complete
is it hypocrisy? Why?
Because he became who he was off the fact that the NFL pushed him away.
When you say he became who he was,
the martyr, he gave up his career in the NFL.
Yeah. He didn't give up his career.
Well, they pushed him away.
He was blackballed, or as Uncle Shannon Sharp would say, whiteballed.
However, right? He wasn't. That's what made him. That's what made him who he is today. That fact.
That's what elevated his position in the movement.
However you want to say the social.
I think he
justice
was doing
movement.
some stuff behind the scenes before, but it wasn't. It wasn't
Which is
recognized.
fine. So what I'm saying to you is now you have an NFL training camp set up, right? I don't know. I think it was something like 25 teams.
25 or so teams were apparently
supposed to be
showed
represented.
up.
Yeah. It was going to be recorded, full video was going to be recorded and sent out to the teams who couldn't make it.
To the teams
who couldn't make it.
There wasn't going to be media there.
Regardless. Go
ahead.
I mean, the media. That's my point. This isn't a media. This isn't a publicity thing. This is you want to work. You want to work.
Okay.
Right. You said the NFL didn't give you a chance. Okay. Has not given you a chance because of whatever the situation is. The powers that be lined it up. Here's your chance to come to an NFL training camp. We have a guarantee, to show you that we mean business. We're guaranteeing you X amount of teams there, this and that and that and the third. Now, you go out an hour before the event is supposed to start and announce that you're not going to participate in that. You're going to move it an hour away.
A couple hours. I thought it was a couple hours.
Well, the article I read said within an hour of starting time, they received a press note. The NFL found out through a press release that he was not going to participate here and he was going to participate an hour away. Okay. So as opposed to being able to be viewed by 25 teams, only 8 teams thought enough of him to make the drive. Now, are the rest of those teams bad because they chose not to participate?
I'm not saying anybody's good or bad. They couldn't make it. They couldn't make it. Here's what I want to say about what you just said. Colin Kaepernick, first off, let's say right, wrong, or indifference. We're talking about how Kaepernick feels.
He doesn't want to play football anymore. He wants to be a martyr.
Hold on.
Stephen A. Smith.
Hold on. Yeah, I heard that. He's and you know what, man? The brother, man, he's my damn frat brother too, man. But he's too animated. Anyway, let's think about this for a second. Colin Kaepernick feels that he was blackballed from the league by all 32 teams, right? He feels the only reason he's getting a workout is because it's a publicity stunt that they want to say, we gave him a chance, right, to come and work out. And perhaps they're going to say he's not good enough. They've already blackballed him before, right? So in his mind, what's stopping them from having a workout, 20 teams, 25, 32 teams show up, whatever, a representative show up, and then the league come back and say, yeah, they went and watched them. They weren't impressed with what they seen, so they still didn't. Hold on. Regardless of whether you agree with this or not, I'm talking about the thinking of the person. If he's blackballed from the league, then they come around all of a sudden and say, we're going to give you a workout. He asked them to give them him additional week. They say, no, you got to have it right now, right? No media is going to be there. In his mind, this is a publicity stunt. They're going to bring him in.
No publicity stunt with no media?
Yeah, because
you need the media for publicity, right?
No. The publicity is the NFL gave him the workout.
Oh, okay.
So now we can quell this notion of blackballing you because now see, we gave him a workout, but he wasn't good enough. So if he's got, in his opinion, if he's got a third party objective third party there, members of the media filming this, giving their analysis on it as he works out, if the NFL were to come out and say, yeah, 25 teams showed up. None of them liked what they seen. They said he was slow. He looked out of shape. His passes were dropping on the ground, blah, 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 blah. That objective third party, the media can say, well, wait, that's not what we saw.
So right? Chance is better at the NFL camp or at the high school?
Well,
getting picked up from a team.
That's not the point.
That's not. What do you mean? It's not the point. It was a job interview.
Yeah, I just told you. I just explained to you very eloquently.
So you don't think so?
The rationale of why he wanted media there.
So you believe he had no? So you believe in his mind he had no chance of getting picked up anyway?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he thought no chance or not.
What do you think?
I'm telling you that I can fully understand if a man feels like he's been blackballed from a league, that he would be skeptical about them giving him a workout with no third party there.
Let me say it this way.
To talk about his performance. Come on, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you got to turn it around for Smart Jarvis. Okay. Is his chances better at the NFL camp or at the high school?
I honestly, I don't know a way to know that.
Clue.
One would say the NFL.
The math
one would say
simple.
the NFL.
25 teams in one camp.
Yeah, he certainly got a larger set of eyes watching him. Yeah, he's got a larger set of eyes watching him.
So the NFL had no desire.
But let's look at it like this. If you got 25 teams there and they've all colluded to say whatever, regardless of what we see, we're going to go back and say he was trash.
Conspiracy, right? Here goes the conspiracy.
No.
Right?
I don't know if this is true.
Just
or not.
like the photoshopped gun and Mr. Fletcher saying, right?
It goes back. Well, it's interesting you say that because it ties in that
corruption.
That's the purpose of transparency. Mm-hmm. If you have transparency, you don't have these problems, right? If the DA releases the video unedited with audio, and you got cops on there cussing and using the N-word or whatever, but at the end of the video, Mr. Fletcher points a gun at the cop saying, I'm about to kill you or something like that, and the cop kills you, you're going to have a small segment of fringe people that, again, they're going to be anti-police regardless. But any reasonable person, me, you, and the majority of reasonable people would say, well, yeah, he pulled the gun on him. The cop has a right to go home, just like Dana had a right to go home. So if he shoots him, if he shot him in that case, it'll be no problem. Same thing with the NFL. If you're being transparent, right? This is the NFL, the big bad NFL. Why wouldn't ESPN be invited to have their people there? You don't think ESPN, the worldwide leader in news, wanted to have some of their people there at that workout with Kaepernick to be reporting on it? You don't think so? So what that means is that the NFL denied them. Why would you deny them?
Well, because this is not a publicity stunt.
Hold on, Sam.
I think the NFL didn't want this to be a publicity stunt.
Sam, have you ever watched the combine, NFL combine?
I have.
It's televised, ain't it?
Live, on TV.
It's televised. It's televised live. Yeah. They got cameras everywhere.
But this wasn't the combine.
These are guys trying to get into the league.
This wasn't the combine.
It is televised. Every high school
NFL,
games are televised now. Senior bowls.
Every NFL scouting camp is not televised.
This ain't every NFL's.
This one needs to be televised.
This is Colin
because
Kaepernick.
This is a black man.
This is no. It ain't got nothing to do with him.
White-balled from the NFL.
If it was a white guy, that people felt he was blackballed from the league, and the league gave him a workout, the media would want to be there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last time I'm gonna turn this around for Jarvis.
Hey man, I ain't gonna argue with y'all all day. I told you I got some party to do. It's Founders Day.
How many camps?
Rude to the bros.
How many single-person camps has ESPN covered this year?
How many single-person camps have there ever been?
How
many single-person camps have there ever been?
I don't see them on TV,
You know
so
why?
I don't know. Because they're not televised.
I'll tell you why. It's zero.
There's probably lots of them.
It's zero.
That's not
because
true.
this
That's
was
not
a
true.
unique situation.
That's not true.
And it's unique. The uniqueness of this situation
Now,
required that the media be allowed in.
How many single-person camps has there been with this many teams participating?
Everybody should have been there.
Probably not that much. How many single-person camps has there been
ridiculous, man.
with this many teams?
It's ridiculous, man.
Probably not that much.
Your logic on this is ridiculous.
Well, I don't have any logic.
I actually part of the reason that we took that hiatus is because I really wanted you to give you some time to kind of do some soul searching and come, as my mom would say, come to your senses.
Kaepernick doesn't want to play football.
I thought after our first topic you was coming to your senses, but I see now it's the same old foolishness.
Kaepernick doesn't want to play football.
Okay. Maybe
he wants
doesn't.
to be a social justice martyr.
Okay.
And that's
fine.
okay.
Yeah, it is.
Leave the NFL alone.
Yeah, it is.
Leave them alone.
No.
Leave them alone. It's like this lady.
NFL called him, bro.
It's like this lady.
Hey, bro. NFL called him. NFL called him.
Listen to me.
What you talking about?
It's like this lady at my job, man. It's like this lady at my job.
You ain't got no job.
I hired a daytime person. No, that's not true.
You hired her.
I needed a daytime person, right? So I had two people to select from. I selected one. The other one came to me and said, "Hey, man, I've been working here longer. I should have been given the opportunity
He about to equate some
to
janitor
work.
he hired.
I should have been given that opportunity to work during the daytime. I've been here longer." And I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right. I made that decision. I didn't consider that. Let me get on the ball right now and make some changes so that you can then work that position." You know what she said to me? "Well, I can't come at 6. I can't come till 8, and I got to be out of here by 1:30. I said, "Well, ma'am, the shift is 6 to 3. Well, I'm just saying, I can't come at 8. I can't get here till 8 because I got to take my grandbaby to school, and I got to leave at 1:30 to go pick him up." Well, ma'am, you can't work. You don't want the job. You just want the conversation about how you got
Thank you very much for sharing with the public that you are having a difficult time finding somebody to work the fry machine
job.
at the job. Okay? Thank you very much. I don't care about that.
Slushy machine, it
I don't
doesn't
care
matter.
We don't care about
she
that.
doesn't want the job.
Okay, we don't care.
Kaepernick doesn't want the job.
Care.
He wants the publicity.
We don't care.
Period. Point blank.
We don't care.
Period. Point blank.
Here's what I'm upset with right now. I'm done. I've already made my point on this topic. I'm upset that I told you I got some partying to do with the bros, and you just wasted 5 minutes of my time.
Get in line. Tell them to go and get in line at the Sparkman Center.
Talking about some lady you trying to hire to work.
She didn't want the job. Okay. She wanted the conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Kaepernick wanted the conversation.
Thank you very much for listening to the Two Opinionated Brothers podcast. If any of you have experience in dropping fries,
slushies, mopping floors, cleaning toilets, come
type of janitorial
stand
work,
shoulder to shoulder with me.
Contact
stand shoulder
the
to
Two
shoulder
Opinionated
with me.
Brothers podcast because apparently now you got to be able to work.
This is $15 an hour.
You got to be able
people.
to work 6 to 3. Is that right? 6 to 3.
No, I work 1:30 to 10. The position was 6 to 3.
6 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this seriously. And
that's been filled. That's been filled.
Oh hell, what you bringing it up for? I'm about to try to get somebody a job.
Because she didn't want the job. That's the point.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize.
She didn't want the job. She wanted the conversation.
I'd like to apologize. When this person that took the job doesn't work out, right, because they start having to take their grandbaby to school, and they start coming in at 8:30 every morning, and he fired them, we'll reannounce this job position, and if anyone's interested and available 6 to 3, we'll let you know. Okay? You got anything else, my brother?
Jarvis?
You got anything else? Because I got to go holler at the bros. You got anything else?
I'm done, man.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. What's wrong with you, man? You've been listening to the Two Opinionated Brothers podcast with Smart Jarvis and Big Sam. Don't forget to like the Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Two Opinionated Brothers, and subscribe to our YouTube and SoundCloud at Two Opinionated Brothers.